Hello students, this is Nilo Fermis. Welcome to Silver Bells online teaching. Today we are going to continue with chapter 8, Framing of Constitution and its Feature, part 3. Here you can see the Lady of Law. In this chapter we are going to learn about how the Constitution was framed and what are its features. In this video, we are going to learn particular basic features of the Constitution. There are 4 basic features of the Constitution that we are going to learn in this video. So let's start the chapter Basic Features of the Constitution. Chapter 8, Part 3. See, now in the previous video, this topic was missed by me. So here we are covering it. Importance of Preamble. So if it is asked that what is the importance of preamble, so you must be knowing these points. The preamble as a soul of the Constitution is also an important necessity. It means preamble is a soul of the Constitution. As our soul is important to our body, same like that for the Constitution, preamble is the soul. If you want to understand any law or its interpretation, then you have to this preamble will give you proper guidance. See the second point, to understand the framing of any law or its interpretation, preamble gives proper guidance. It means how any of the law was framed. An interpretation means if you want to know the definition of it, then this preamble gives proper guidance. Then third point is to understand the policy behind the framing of any law. It means why this law was framed. It means what that happened that you need to make this law. That reason, if you want to know that reason, then preamble plays an important role. So here preamble shows us the background of the law, that why this law was framed, what was the reason for framing the law. All these things are known by preamble. See now the fourth point. The preamble is a useful tool to avoid the trouble in the interpretation of the Constitution. When you are writing about the importance of preamble, then this point you have to write again and again. This is the most important point, interpretation of the Constitution. It means whatever rules are kept in the Constitution, all those about those rules, why the rules are kept, what are the rules, what are the reasons behind it, all these things are explained by the preamble. That's why the preamble is a useful tool to avoid the trouble in the interpretation. It means you can be very much clear to the definition of the Constitution through preamble. Then the next point, when an ambiguity. Here ambiguity means not clear. Okay, if you are not clear about anything. So when an ambiguity or obscure details in law arises, it means the details which are not clear in your mind, and in that same details in law arises in your mind, then preamble helps in understanding and interpreting the law. It is not easy to understand the law, so there are different definitions. The people are taking different definition to different law, but if you want to know exact definition of the law, then preamble is there to help you out. Thus, preamble serves as a compass to understand the provisions of constitutional law. For example, freedom of speech is written in the Constitution. So, people are even abusing that we are free to speak. No, but you have to understand the law that freedom of speech means exactly what. Here we are talking about compass. You must be knowing about the compass which is used in the ship to know the direction. So here preamble is also, it serves as a compass to understand the provisions of constitutional law. Preamble, see next point, preamble is nation's unity, integrity and is the standard crust of brotherhood among citizens who are having noble sentiments and ideals. So here what preamble wants to show us. So here clearly it is shown that nation's unity, it means all the people in the nation should be united, it should not be should not be broken, and even the brotherhood among the citizens of India, all those noble sentiments and ideals. Okay, see all these things So all these points, unity, integrity, standard, trust of brotherhood, sentiments and ideals, all these points are reflected by preamble. And the next point, preamble is backed by high ideals and goals. See here, high, backed here means as we are having spinal cord, without spinal cord we can't even stand. That much important it is in our body. So high ideals and goals. So these high ideals and goals are backed by preamble. It means these two are the main important points for the preamble, high ideals and goals. See the other words which are compared to the preamble, soul, then compass, then here it is told that backed by. So that much important the preamble is. Now we'll go towards basic features of the Constitution. So this can be asked in 1 mark. The Constitution which came into force, when it came into force, 26th Jan 1950. 3 months prior it was framed, but it came into force on 26th January 1950. And it is considered as the largest, extensive and detailed written document. And so we are celebrating this day as our Republic Day. And how is our Constitution? See, the largest. It means the largest in the world. Then extensive. All the points are in it. All the points are covered in the Constitution. And detailed. It means all the things are written in detail. Such is our Constitution. You have to remember 3 words for the Constitution: largest, extensive and detailed. So now we learn about its first feature. As we get to know about the features when we are buying anything like mobile or something. So here also the features are there of Constitution. And here the first feature of our Constitution is it is written document. So the first point, except Britain and Israel. It means leave Britain and Israel. These 2 countries you have to leave. And then except these 2 countries, all other countries. See, India along with other nations of the world have their constitution in written form. Only these 2 nations, Britain and Israel, are not having the written document. Other than these 2, all the other nations along with India have their constitution in written form. So the next point is, considering the social, geographical, diversified circumstances and prehistoric notions, the Constituent Assembly has kept the drafted constitution in written form. Here we are talking about the Constituent Assembly, about which we have already learned in our previous parts of SS. So which points were kept in the mind while making the constitution, while forming the constitution? So they kept the points in the mind were social, geographical, diversified circumstances and prehistorical notions. It means what kind of society is there in India, which cultures are there in India, what type of people are living in India, their festivals, their religions, their customs. These were social. And then geographical, diversified also kept in mind, like some people are living in the hilly region, some are living in the plains, some are living on the banks of river. So these all things were also kept in mind. As India is diversified, we have learnt in the geography. And history was also kept in mind, prehistorical notions. Maybe the mistakes made at that time there should not be in the constitution. So these all things were kept in mind while writing the constitution, while forming the constitution. So that is the most important feature, that to keep all these things in mind and then to write now. It is not that for the sake of writing they have written the constitution. No, it isn't like that. They knew that time that how much important it would be in future. So this was the first feature. Now let's go towards the second feature. Which is the second feature? Size of the constitution, how long it is. So in that, the first point, Indian constitution is divided into 22 sections comprising 395 articles and 8 appendices, which are now 12. So it is divided into 22 sections, see, 22 parts, and 395 articles are there. It means whatever the crime is done by the person, by the citizen of India, so which punishment would be given to that person. So here articles, see, in Indian Penal Code, you must have heard about it, IPC. So like this 395 articles are there and 8 appendices. These appendices are written at the last of the constitution which are helpful to find out the articles or which are helpful to find out the sections, as we are having no index in our books to find out the which page which lesson is on which page. So same like that, these appendices are there in the constitution on the last page. 8 appendices were there when this constitution was formed, but now just now we are having 12 appendices. See the next point. The constitution comprises provisions for state administration and states' interrelations, fundamental rights, principles for political policies, judiciary, election commission, government institutions, minorities, scheduled caste and deprived groups. See now which group of persons were kept in the mind while making the constitution. So these comprises provisions, the rules for what? So first, state administration. State administration means here the government, how it will be formed and how it will work. Next is states interrelations. It means the relations between the states, among the states, like Gujarat's relation with Madhya Pradesh relation with Andhra Pradesh, same like that, the relationships between the different states of India. And then the relation of these all states with the central government and the relationship of central government with all these states. All these things, how it would be, what kind of relations would be there, it's given in the constitution. Then fundamental rights, all the citizens of India are having their basic rights. So these basic rights, it means fundamental rights, about it is given. Principles for. Then what would be the rules for the political policies? If the politicians are making the policies, for that also there are the principles. Then comes judiciary. Even it is written about judiciary, high court, supreme court, how they will work. Then election commission, those who are going to hold elections, about that also it is written. Then government institutions. So the different departments of the government like army, police, all these departments, about that also their rules and regulations, their salaries, everything is written in the constitution. As I told you in detail, it means nothing is left, everything, each and every point is written in it. Then comes minorities. Then comes scheduled caste, rules about scheduled caste are also written. Then deprived groups, like socially, economically deprived, okay. So for these people also, there are the rules in the constitution. So the constitution comprises provisions, the rules for all these group of people. And therefore, the Constitution of India is the largest, extensive and detailed written document compared to other constitutions. As we have not left any point to write down in the constitution, that is the reason why we are having the largest, extensive, detailed written document in full world, and we should be proud of it. See now, third feature is single citizenship. Like if you are not Indian and you want to come in India, or if you are an Indian and you are having dream that I will leave India once and I will settle in America or somewhere else. So what would be the situation first, that if you want to go to America forever, you must have visa for it. Or suppose you are in America now and you want to stay there only, you don't want to come back in India. So you have started even speaking American English and you are going there that I want to live here. So if they will give you the citizenship of America, then it is not enough. See, one for United States of America, for that citizenship you will get the visa. The other one, the citizenship you have to take for state citizenship. It means in which state you are going to stay in America. For example, if you are living in going to live in California, so for that state even you will get the citizenship. So there you will get dual citizenship. See, one for the United States of America and the other one for the state which you are going to live in. But if you are in the America and you want to come in India, you want to stay in India, then in India there is only one single citizenship irrespective of any region or state of the country. Here you don't have to get state citizenship, but as Indian we are having one citizenship, one single citizenship. Once you get the citizenship of India from Delhi, then you can live in any of the state of India. Not like America, that particular state you have to decide there. You will get green card for that state only, that particular state only. While in India, we are free to live in any of the state of India. So that is the difference. See, in America, dual citizenship is given, one for United States of America and another for state citizenship. But in India, there is only single citizenship irrespective of any region or state of the country. So our next feature, fourth feature, is the center with strong federal structure. We need to know here what is federal. So see here, India is a union of states. Same like that, America is having a union of states. It is known as United States of America. So here in India also, India is a union of states. Union means one group. So it means a group of states. So as we see that 29 states are there in India, all together make one India. See the second point, there is nowhere any reference of the word federal in the constitution. So in the full constitution, this word federal is not used. You will not get this word in the constitution. So see why union of states is the sentence for India. That which word is used for India. So the sentence or the words together makes a sentence. The sentence used for India is union of states. So by the use of word union, union means one group. If all the states here are united, are union, and this unity becomes a permanent. It is irreversible. You can't go back. Any of the state can't say that we need different nation. All the states are together in union. Even central can't say that particular state, central government can't say to the particular state that this state is not in the country now. So this is unbreakable relationship, like the parents and child. See the next point, India is a union of states and no state has right to secede it. Secede it means to be divided, to be alone, to be separated from India. So no state has right to separate from this union. Thus India is a union of states, yet it has some elements of federal government. See then, we are union, then also we are federal. So see here comes again, in Indian Federation there are two sets of government. The meaning of federation is like that only, that to divide the government at different levels, so that it can be easy to rule. As in house also, our home, our father is having separate work to do, our mother is having different duties. So here also in the houses we are dividing the duties. Same like that in the government also, at the different levels the responsibilities are divided. So in that two sets, the first one is the union government. Union government means the government to whom we are calling central government, and the other one is the state government. The constitution has clearly marked areas of functioning for both the kinds of governments. So it is very much clearly written in the constitution that what would be the role of the government which is working at the central level, and what would be the role of the government, what would be the responsibilities, the duties of the government which would be working at the state level. Both of these government are having separate powers of them. See the next point, the constitution demarcates the powers of the central and the state governments into different lists of subjects. Like these would be the topics on which central government will work, and these would be the topics in which state government will work. So here first union list is given. So union list comprises 97 subjects. So which topics, which subjects are comprises? So subjects of national importance like defense, foreign affairs, atomic energy, banking, railway, communication, post and telegraph are included in the union list. So all these subjects will be looked after by union government, central government. These all topics, these all subjects are under union list, and central government is having power to work in it. Then comes second, state list. State list means like for example our Gujarat government. So the state list comprises 66 subjects. How many topics are given to state list, to state government? 66. So which are they? The state list comprises of those important subjects on which the state legislature house can pass laws. It means the elected members from the state where they are sitting, like Gandhinagar. Vidhan Sabha. So these people can pass laws on whatever important subjects that is comprised in the state list. Next is subjects like law and order, state government institutions, agriculture and irrigation, health, land, interstate trade and commerce are included. If there is a failure of the law and order in the state, the union government with consent or against the will of the state can send reserved police force. See now, here state government is having the power to work on these all issues, all these topics, but if they are failed, if there is any failure of the law, if they are going against the constitution and against the law, then what will happen? So the union government then will work on it and with consent or against, whether they want or they won't. But against the will or their consent of will, state government has to answer them. And so the union government will send reserved police force. Now the next one is third, concurrent list. Concurrent list means the list, it means the subject which both the governments will look together. See now the first point. In addition to this, the constitution provides for a third list that is called the concurrent list. It consists of subjects of common concern both to the center and the state governments. Here together they will work with common concern. The third point, the central and state government can pass laws on these subjects. So together both the governments will pass law. Then the concurrent list has 47 subjects. Which subjects are there? Concurrent list has 47 subjects. So these lists include subjects like criminal and civil procedure, marriage and divorce, education, economic planning, trade union, etc. So today we have learnt about, first we learned about importance of preamble, like it is the soul of constitution, and then we learnt about basic features of the constitution, in which we learned the first feature, which was written document. Second point, we learned about the size of our constitution. Third feature, we learned about the single citizenship. Then the fourth feature, we learned about the federal structure of central. We are having union structure, together with we are having federal union also, in which we learned about the union government and the state government, their different powers, and the last point we learned about the concurrent list, means where these two government works together. Here we are completing our this video, and now in the fourth part we are going to complete chapter 8. Thank you. Have a good day.